Today I will be talking about the movie Encanto. Some weird perspectives on this movie, some controversial opinions about certain characters, Antonio, as well as understanding and relating with some characters really hard, and maybe learn a thing or two. Let's go. First and foremost, I don't know a lot about Spanish or Hispanic culture and the representation of it in this movie, or if it was accurate or not. I'm not Hispanic, but definitely the representation of different skin colors or hairstyles or attires, basically a different culture itself. That's really nice to see in this movie, even if Disney is monopolizing on everything. Let's not go into that in this video. Also, Mirabel's voice, it's not at all princessy by any means. It's really powerful, and I really liked her voice so much. So yeah, representation. Good. Let's get into the characters really quick. Abuela, the grandmother who has 3 kids. Tia Peppa, the aunt who can control the weather. Mirabel's mama Julieta, who can heal people using her food and her recipes. And lastly, Tio Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. Who can see the future, and he disappeared one day. Which brings us to the grandkids, starting with Peppa and Felix. They have 3 kids, starting from the eldest to the youngest. Dolores, who has super hearing ability. Then next comes Camilo, who can shape-shift into anyone. And lastly, Antonio, who gets his gift later, which is basically Dr. Dolittle, talking to animals and whatnot. I think his gift is the worst of them all. I'll get into that later, so stay tuned for that. Now coming to Julieta and Agustin, they have 3 kids as well, starting from the eldest to the youngest again. Isabella, whose power is basically just being pretty and perfect. Great character development for her. Again, we'll get into that later. Next is Luisa, who is really strong and buff, and she's a god and I love her. And I glow 'cause I know what my worth is. And lastly, our lead character, Mirabel, whose gift is living in denial.
Alright guys, where do I drop the wagon?
Maybe your gift is being in denial.
I'm in Rainbow!
I hate that kid. Leave her alone. It's a musical film, so obviously I'm not giving any justice by explaining these characters in the way I did. So I apologize. Oh, also the house, Casita. It's a magical house which can move, which is really dope. But also at the same time, there's no privacy in that case, I guess. Hope it's a sentient being and not like the grandfather who died, because that would be really creepy. I'm not gonna break down or explain the entire movie. I'm just gonna point out a few points which resonated with me the most. Let's talk about Bruno.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Bruno.
It's Bruno.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about Bruno.
Because he's the most complicated character of this entire film, and I just love his character so much. He can see the future, and the people think that he's making that future happen. Mirabel also says that to Abuela at the end of the movie that
Bruno left our family because you only saw the worst in him.
Bruno didn't care about this family.
He loves this family.
So let's try to understand more of it. His power is to see the future, but I'd like to use the word predict because it's a really simple word that changes the definition of his character. Because guess what? Don't we all predict our futures? Just sometimes we settle for the predictions we make for ourselves, and it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We make these predictions, we have a vision about our future, and sometimes it's negative because we come to that prediction by those conclusions by, jumping to the conclusions or magnifying things out of scale, which leads to it being a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because we have already given up, we have already accepted that this is going to be our future. So we don't try as hard, or we don't try at all. There's several different things you can think of here. For example, one of my videos didn't do as well. So I unconsciously decided that I'm never going to gain a good audience, or all the negative things basically. And because I came to that conclusion, I didn't upload for 10 days. I didn't promote anything on my Instagram. I didn't work basically. And guess what? I didn't gain an audience. In those moments, Bruno needed someone to believe in him and trust him and understand him, not demonize him even more. But I love this one thing that Bruno says to Mirabel.
If I see something that you don't like, you're gonna be all, Bruno makes bad things happen. Oh, he's creepy and his vision killed my goldfish.
Which means he is really, really grounded in his self. There's 2 reasons why I'm saying that. He knows that he doesn't make bad things happen. He just sees them for what they are. Obviously, he's a bit biased. A great example being Isabella's vision being really positive. And as well as Mirabel actually. When Mirabel sees the vision of hugging Isabella and she believes in Bruno, that's why it's kind of a positive thing, I would say.
I don't think you make bad things happen.
If you're coming across to him in a negative mood and expecting something bad, he's gonna give you the bad thing. And secondly, he doesn't become a bad guy. He doesn't hate his family. Like the psychological self-fulfilling prophecy that we don't talk about Bruno, he's a bad guy in that song, where Dolores can hear him through the walls.
You can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. Do you understand?
All of it stops at him having negative visions because of others' expectations from him, but he doesn't have a negative vision out of spite. At least I don't think so. Which is why I think he's really grounded and a really complicated character. And he's very positive for someone who is criticized a lot. If I think about myself, if I was criticized so much, I'd be fucking devastated. I'll be honest. He's so grounded in just being himself. Like he knows when his visions are hurting the family and everything, he takes himself out of the equation and he still loves his family, doesn't hate them or anything. Now you can argue if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in the end it shows us that Bruno is a really grounded character. Expectations is also a big theme in this movie. We see that with other characters as well, like Luisa and Isabella. They are amazing songs as well. Or one about pressure and one about not being perfect or being who you are and what else can I do. And it's a great movie. What can I say now? Both songs literally talk about expectations as well in the lyrics.
The crushing weight of expectations, would that free some room up for joy?
I just made something unexpected. It's not symmetrical or perfect, but it's beautiful.
It's a highly relatable thing to be expected to be perfect or expected to be a strong person. And Luisa, like she carries everyone who carries her and like stuff like that. Also, side note, the ship doesn't swerve as it heard how big the iceberg is. That's such an amazing line, which directly connects to the self-fulfilling prophecy which I talked about just now. Isabella was hated by everyone in the beginning when she's rude to Mirabel. Don't you lie, we all hated Isabella. Okay, we are all in the same team here. But when we understand that she was expected to be perfect, we can kind of like have an assumption about it that if you're expected to be perfect, you are hiding your insecurities, you're hiding your imperfections and your humanity. She was put on a pedestal as a golden child and she became a bit egoistic and a bit of a bitch, bad person. But at the same time, I'd like to say a golden child, I don't think is egoistic in any family unless they are putting on a facade of something they're not. It's just seeking validation and losing yourself because of it and growing the ego because you are doing what everyone is expected you to do and putting yourself on a higher pedestal, and that's why ego happens. That's why you become a bad person. That's just my opinion, I guess. And then when a song comes and we kind of empathize with her and we understand what's going on and like we like her as well now, and yeah. By the way, I think the melodies that Mirabel sings to Isabella in the middle of the song are the same as the one from We Don't Talk About Bruno, where Isabella is talking about the like that. That sounded very familiar, and I think it's the same.
He told me that the life of my dreams would be promised and someday be mine. You just seem like your life's been a dream since the moment you opened your eyes.
So, nice callback. After that, Abuela destroys the magic. Most of us did not like Abuela for being so hard on Mirabel or all the characters in this movie, and she's always expecting so much from others and putting on a facade that everything is okay. Do I sense a bit of a denial in there?
There is nothing wrong. The magic is strong. Everything is fine. The magic is strong.
Yes, I do. Also, I sense some like defense mechanism, like projection. I do sense that as well. When someone is projecting feelings, it's an unconscious thing by the way, those feelings are said to be jealousy, anger, controlling or sexual in nature according to Sigmund Freud. And that is a massive oversimplification, but I'll just say that it's kind of related to one's emotional regulational abilities. We get to understand her past as we cry and feel horrible about judging her. I hate you, Disney. And we can see and understand the burden and the expectations she has from others growing up alone and it's just expected to be strong as well and being the head of the house.
The whole town relies on our family, on our gifts.
Abuela's own insecurities, which are completely valid considering her trauma as well. They are very similar to Mirabel's insecurities as well. Don't think about what they are doing, consider why. Mirabel is trying to save the magic, and why is she doing that? To save the family. Abuela blames Mirabel and blah 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 blah. Why is she doing that? Because she's also worried about the magic. Only thing she doesn't realize till the end of the movie is that the magic is for the family. So both of them are technically worried about the family, directly or indirectly. In the end, it all boils down to being worried and acting on your fears. And I think that's all the characters in a way. Getting a bit of a tangent, the reason why we love Mirabel so much is it has to be that because like she's a really relatable character, but at the same time so are most of the characters, including the caffeinated kid. Yeah, that's me every single morning. On a serious note though, almost all characters are going through very similar thing, not the same thing, but very similar things. But we do relate with Mirabel the most. It's probably because like the simplest answer would be she's the lead of the character. We see most of her presence in the scene, and we are following her perspective. That's why we relate with her most. Now here's where the tangent happens. That is kind of scary considering that must be how toxic relationships like affects us. And like we like to romanticize toxic relationships. Because if we see toxic relationships as a lead from other movies, like I don't know, Twilight or Friends or How I Met Your Mother or something, we relate with them because they are the lead. Kind of manipulative, I would say, and I don't really like that because I don't like to idolize, the main characters. I like to understand all the characters, which this movie did very well. I understood every single character and related with all of them quite a lot. Quickly, two more characters. Dolores is the most secretive person, even though she knows everyone's secrets. It's kind of ironical. I kind of find it funny. And Camilo, who I guess you can see as the like one person in your friends or your family who can just mix with people and make friends and is just connects with people. I do not relate with him. I have no friends.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Anyway, here's a fun fact though. All the things that I talked about in this video, the characteristics or the behaviors and the personalities, all of it slowly unfolding in this movie. All of that, it's foreshadowed in one scene in the beginning, which I bet you didn't think about. Here's the scene.
My baby's night has to be perfect, and it's not perfect. And people are going to be coming. I'm not afraid.
Tonight must go perfectly. Peppa, you have a cloud.
I know, Mama, but now I can't find Antonio. What do you want from me?
If the gift ceremony doesn't go well this time, tonight will be hard for us all.
I noticed Tia Peppa, my dear auntie, is really angry because she can't find Antonio. There's literally no reason for her to be that angry for not being able to find Antonio. Why would she be angry? Because
Tonight must go perfectly.
if that one scene is not foreshadowing the entire movie, I might have some self-serving bias here, but that's just, I can't help but notice it. It's a complete foreshadowing that everything needs to be perfect. There's so much pressure here, and the prediction, if something bad happens today, we are all going to have, we are all going to be scared, and even Antonio is scared, and it's just the three P's. All of that in the beginning of this movie itself. It's just... Coming to Antonio, by the way, I just have to say, I'm sorry, I have to say, and ruin it for everyone. His gift is not cute. That's such a horrible gift to have. Like, first of all, you will have to go vegan, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with being vegan. But second of all, you can't even allow others to be like non-vegetarian or have milk products or anything because you just ate my chicken, friend. Thirdly, imagine having a conversation about getting manure for like planting and like growing plants. Like the animals would just go, the fuck is this guy taking my shit for? Right now we don't even think about that because animals don't talk. Maybe that will humble us or embarrass us even more. Fourth, the voices will never ever stop. Fifth, what about the food chain? How does that work? Again, you just ate my chicken friend. And lastly, all the animals will fuck your mind up trying to tell you that we are killing the planet where you can do nothing about it but feel horrible about yourself and humanity and go crazy like the guy from The Boys. Why do people fantasize talking to animals? Sometimes living in denial is not that bad. In the end, this is a great movie with great morals as usual. Songs, oh my god, they're really good. We don't talk about Bruno, that's like the number one on Billboard's 100 hot thing. I don't know, but apparently it's a really big deal and I can see why. It's a really great song. I hope it doesn't become the new Let It Go. I don't think so because it's really groovy. Let It Go was just annoying. Sorry. If you haven't watched this movie, I just have some like FOMO. Just check this movie out. It's actually really good. I'll be making more of these characters and movie breakdowns going forward. Obviously not as much, but like I'll try it maybe once a month or so. And please let me know if you have any other movie suggestions for me. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment down what you thought about this video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next dumb thing.
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
Open my eyes. Open your eyes. What do you see?
I see me, all of me.
I didn't really talk about Mirabel as much. Like, she's the lead of this movie and I didn't talk much about her. Oh well.